Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news that I come across throughout the day, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician in the near future. Hopefully, all you guys are doing wonderful. Hopefully, all you guys are doing well. Today is October 7th, not the 2nd, and it is Tuesday. Hopefully, all you guys are having a wonderful week so far, and hopefully, you all had a wonderful day. Whether you're going to school, whether you're going to work, whatever that may be. Hopefully it was well. And outside of that, hopefully you guys are all doing well as well. It's been a very interesting day in the news world, and we'll get into that later. But if you're new here, please consider subscribing, as we are on our way to 500 subscribers by the end of the year. I believe we can do it. We're getting really close to 400, sitting at 375 right now. So if you're new here, please subscribe. All the support would be greatly appreciated. Share it with your friends, share it with your family if you think anyone else in your life would be interested in this content as well. And if you're on Substack, please also consider subscribing. All funds go to me. That may pay for the things that I need to pay for in life, like food, like clothing, like all of that. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all forms of support on this content. And with that being said, let's get into the news from today. Moving on into the Trump administration segment as we do, the first topic we have today is Trump will not rule out using the Insurrection Act. Trump said on Monday that he would consider invoking the Insurrection Act if it was necessary, particularly if states or courts and local officials continue to delay National Guard deployments. Trump said, "I'd do it if it was necessary. So far, it hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason." He said, "If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that. I mean, I want to make sure people aren't killed. We have to make our cities safe." In an interview on Newsmax, Trump then doubled down, saying, "If we don't have to use it, I won't use it. If you take a look at what's been going on in Portland, it's been going on for a long time, and that's an insurrection. I mean, pure insurrection." Does Trump know what an insurrection is, genuinely? Because to claim that an insurrection is happening in Portland is absolutely wild. Every video of what's going on in Portland displays federal agents attacking citizens and protesters who are peaceful. Genuinely, they are peaceful. I mean, we have Oregon's own National Guard stepping up and saying that they have to protect the protesters. We have Oregon police officers saying they have to protect the protesters from these federal agents. I spent 30 minutes this morning scrolling through videos of all the incidents in Portland on TikTok. 30 minutes of my time this morning just to get a feel of the situation. And to claim that an insurrection is happening is completely false. Every single video shows agents pointing guns at peaceful protesters, throwing chemical agents at protesters, macing protesters, and so much more when they are just standing around, protesting or yelling at these agents. These agents are actively attacking American citizens day after day, and that is not okay in any way, shape, or form. And if you think it is, you're a terrible person. In other news, Pam Bondi has refused to answer any Trump-Epstein questions. Attorney General Pam Bondi has stonewalled any and all questions about Trump being in the Epstein files at a Senate Judiciary Committee, the same committee that ordered any documents mentioning Trump to be flagged. Senator Dick Durbin asked Bondi, "So who gave the order to flag any records related to President Trump?" Bondi said, "I'm not going to discuss anything about that with you, Senator." These files have to be absolutely horrendous if they still refuse to talk to them or talk about them and release them. Like, genuinely, it has been months and they are still refusing to do so. They're going to have to do it eventually. So either the game plan is to get rid of all the information that has Trump in it, or give them a fake one, which without a doubt is probably going to be the case. Which says a lot when this is something that they campaigned on. I mean, MAGA supporters, they told you that they would release the Epstein files. Yet what are they doing? Refusing to even discuss it. And you want to know why? Because Trump is all over those little files. I was talking about the Epstein files. I received a comment the other day last time I talked about the Epstein files, and someone said that maybe I was in the Epstein files because of how much I claim that Trump is in the Epstein files. I don't remember who said this, but somebody did. It might have been on a YouTube short or whatever. But I'm 18, dog. I can promise you, for one, I am not in the Epstein files. That comment was hilarious to read. But also, if I was in the Epstein files, once again, not in those files, it would probably be because they are touching me. That is why I would be in the Epstein files if I was not. But it is crazy that people like, I'm 18. I'm fresh off the block. And people are like stupid enough to comment something like that. Like, there is no chance. There is no chance. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. And like talking about that just reminded me of it. Release the Epstein files. In other news, Trump has commented on Bad Bunny being at the Super Bowl. Trump is furious over news that Bad Bunny has become the Super Bowl halftime show performer. In an interview on Newsmax, Trump said he had never heard of Bad Bunny, going on to say, "I don't know who he is. I don't know why they're doing it. It's like crazy. They blame it on some promoter that they hired to pick up entertainment. I think it's absolutely ridiculous." Trump does not care about the NFL in any way, shape, or form. If anything, he cares about the profits that the NFL makes. And let's be real here. Like, Trump does not know ball. He went to the Super Bowl and was booed the entire time, and he also made the incorrect prediction of who would win the Super Bowl. But, like, there is also just no chance that he knows ball. His entire thing is WWE, and he's talked about football on a couple occasions now. I've heard him talk about it, and I think the only good take that he has ever had is that Joe Flacco was a good starting quarterback in the NFL. And what was this? In like 2015 is when he said that, I believe. That's the only good take that you used to have. The Browns traded Joe Flacco today after he was, third in the league in interceptions. He is now on the Cincinnati Bengals. That'll be interesting to watch. But hey, getting a nice little fifth round pick for a guy who's 40 years old ain't too bad, in my opinion. So, go Browns. But if I had to rely on Trump as a sports analysis, I would turn the game off. I do not trust Trump to know ball in any way, shape, or form at all. And, I don't gamble. I don't do parlays or anything. But, like, if Trump was giving me lists for parlays or, like, for, teams to bet on, I would bet on the opposite. Like, there is no chance in hell that I would trust Trump. Trust Trump, say that 10 times fast, with ball knowledge. Absolutely not. Anyways, talking about the government shutdown, the Burbank Airport will now be without air traffic controllers due to the government shutdown. Pilots flying out of Burbank Airport in California are hearing messages saying the tower is closed due to staffing when they radio in to fly out. Air traffic controllers have stopped working en masse due to the government shutdown, and the Trump administration pushing these workers not to get paid, even though the president and other politicians get paid during a government shutdown. Air traffic controllers were a huge reason why the last shutdown ended, and it is very likely that we see that as a similar reason here. Let's talk about the administration refusing to pay people next, but I would not be shocked if this caused the shutdown to end. Air travel is already an extremely important thing in the United States. I would say that it's probably one of the most used things outside of driving, I guess, but outside of horseback or boat or any older not even older, those aren't even old transportations, those are modern day transportations in a way. But air travel is essential to transportation in the United States of America, especially with how big it is. So it's insane. This administration has already cut down so much on air traffic control, with DOJ, with all of that, to the point where it's not very safe to fly already, genuinely. And this does not help that in the slightest. Does the shutdown need to end? Yes, absolutely. But the Democrats should not cave in the slightest. And the fact that the Trump administration is threatening to fire people or to not pay people because the Democrats are trying to, push for people to get better health care or cheaper health care says a lot. It really does. In other news, the White House does not believe in paying furloughed workers. Furloughed workers are expected to not be eligible for back pay after the government shutdown, according to a new White House memo. Trump said at the Oval Office, "There are some people that really don't deserve to be taken care of, and we'll take care of them in a different way." He went on to claim that the Democrats were putting these people in jeopardy, yet he's claiming that they shouldn't be paid, which is interesting. Pushing for employees not to be paid as the President of the United States, who is already having a terrible job economy, a terrible economy as a whole, is absolutely fucking wild. He continues to blame the Democrats when they are fighting for your interests here. There is no giving free healthcare to illegal immigrants. It is a bold-faced Republican lie to make their supporters, who actually believe anything they say, unfortunately, think that the Republicans are in the right when they're not. There is no law that allows illegal immigrants to, get free healthcare. Like, that is not a thing that is happening in the United States at all. Maybe in some states on a state level, but federally, nothing is allowing that. And that's not what the Democrats are pushing for either. They are pushing on a federal level for your healthcare premiums to not only stay cheaper and not go to $4,000 a month, which is insane, and people cannot afford that. Healthcare is already extremely expensive, but $4,000 a month is insane. But they are fighting for your best interests in this situation. And what Republicans are claiming is not the case and is not going to happen. Democrats want to help you. They want to help your interests, which is the first time we've seen this from the Democratic Party in a hot minute. Let's be real. They sit around and do jack shit continuously, but they are fighting for your interests here. They are fighting to keep your healthcare costs low, and Republicans don't want to do that in any way, shape, or form. So they shouldn't be in office. I mean, the goal of a politician is to work for your best interests as an American citizen. And if a politician isn't going to work for your best interests, like making your healthcare cheaper, they shouldn't be in office. Healthcare should be free anyways. We're the only first world country in the world who doesn't have free healthcare. We're not even really a first world country, but that's an entirely different conversation. The fact that healthcare isn't free is absolutely insane. And that should be changed because we're supposed to be the greatest country in the world. Yet we're the only first world country without free healthcare. Anyways, moving on into our final topic for tonight, the Supreme Court has decided to rule against Colorado's ban on conversion therapy. The Supreme Court is preparing to rule against Colorado's ban on conversion therapy for minors because they believe it violates the First Amendment. Roughly half of the states in this country have banned conversion therapy for minors, and if the court rules in support, it will likely be legal throughout the country. This is because several justices don't believe that states can regulate talk therapy the same way they regulate medical conduct. Holy English. We are basically allowing parents to traumatize their children here and just letting children be traumatized. Isn't that a great thing? That's so great. I've heard horrible stories from these places, on top of them, not actually working in the first place. But the people who have been to these camps and who have experienced these things all have horrible stories. Genuinely. It is terrible. And any parent who sends their kid to a conversion camp, instead of, accepting their child for who they are, clearly does not care about their child and they care about their own personal image. I mean, let's be real on that. If your child is gay or something and you would rather pay to send them to a conversion camp than just accepting your child and letting them be who they are, clearly you do not give a shit about that child and you only care about your child's image, which is insane as a parent. It causes more damage to children and their mental states and their lives than it does good. In fact, it doesn't cause any good. And the fact that people are still doing this today is absolutely insane. It is 2025, dog. If you are upset about people being gay, if you are upset about people being transgender, if you are upset about people being bisexual or whatever the hell you are upset about, grow up, dude. Care about yourself. It is not that big of a deal. The fact that you are so focused about someone else's life is entirely insane. With that being said, though, hopefully you all enjoyed today's episode. It has definitely been a very interesting day in the news world. Outside of that, though, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. All the support would be greatly appreciated. As mentioned, we are trying to get to 500 subscribers before the end of the year, and I believe we can do that. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. All the support would be greatly appreciated. And drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts about the news from today. And if you're on Substack, please also consider subscribing as well. As mentioned, all funds go to me to help me pay for the things that I need to pay for in college, like my groceries, like clothing, like all of that. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. Once again, I truly do appreciate all forms of support on this content. It means the world to me that so many of you continue to watch my videos day after day. Thank you all so much for that, truly. With that being said, I'll see you all on tomorrow. Later.